Now, last week, we were talking about the origin of dukkha. In the origin of dukkha, we spoke about the different types of dukkha, 108 types of dukkha, and then we look into how this 108 types of craving of tanha, and then we look how this craving affected us, or it affects us especially in our meditation. Things look very simple, but craving can be there. So we have to be careful, we have to watchful of them, and once we're able to catch them, the mind can able to overcome the craving, at least for a temporary period of time. Now, tonight and also the next few talks, we're going to look into this, the third noble truth, the cessation of dukkha. This is a big topic, and also it's in a way conceptual. What I'm trying to do for tonight and the next few talks is that first of all, we're going to look into the overall about the cessation of dukkha. And also, we're going to look at, of course, with the cessation of dukkha, we are talking about nibbana. And since we're going to talk about nibbana, we're going to need to talk about before nibbana, what happens before nibbana, and what happens during nibbana, and what happens after nibbana. I mean, after in the sense of, after you come out from or emerge from nibbana, then it will take some time. It will take some time for us to discuss it through, because this is where it is important in our practice, and then we know the path, a map towards the destination. And then when you reach the destination, what is the implication? What are the benefit that comes together with it? So it's quite a big topic to look into it. Now, first, before we look into this topic, we would like to go back a little bit now, in order for us to understand the different meanings of the Four Noble Truths. So we're going to share the screen. Okay. Can y'all see? Okay. Hold on, yeah. Okay. Can y'all see again? All right now. So again here, the word dukkha, the first noble truth, the word dukkha here means oppressing, being formed, burning, changing. And during that time when we are discussing about the first noble truth, we bring about to see what is this oppressing, what is it being formed, what is it being changed during this time. And all this has the meaning of dukkha. That also we already discussed that. Then the origin of dukkha, then it means accumulating of what? Accumulating of the karma, a source. And that means a source of, just like an origin, a source of all our dukkha. A bondage as if like it is bound to in samsara. It bonds you in samsara. Impeding. It is impeding when we look into the 10 imperfections of insight, how this craving, when it arises, if you are not careful, it impedes your progress. And also it turns you out from the right path into the wrong path. So we look into that quite a lot. So we come to the third one, the cessation. The cessation's meaning of escape. Escape from what? Escape from samsara. Seclusion from what? Seclusion from, you can say seclusion from the five aggregates, secluded from defilements. Unformed here, again, here it's non-arising. There's no arising, and deathlessness means there's no passing away. No arising, no passing away. So this, again, here, this meaning, we're going to look into it, and we're going to tie it into our understanding of this Nibbana, or this cessation of dukkha, and then we're going to see how those things are important in our practice. And then again, the path meaning of outlet, as a kind of like a, you want to direct a water out of into outside, then you put a pipe there, and then you direct the water. So it's a kind of outlet like that. A cause, that means here you develop the mind. Many things that needs to be developed. Mindfulness needs to be developed. The effort needs to be developed, and the rest. Seeing here, it means how you, other words, is the noting mind, and how you pay attention to an object. And predominance here, and it means this Noble Eightfold Path, the qualities are predominant, are really needed for the enlightenment. So that one, we talk about that another time. So tonight we begin to talk about the cessation of dukkha, meaning of escape, of seclusion, of unformed, and deathlessness. So these are the 16 different meanings of the Four Noble Truths. Altogether, there are 16. Okay, so we go to an overall understanding of Nibbana and this cessation of dukkha. Now, in order for us to understand why the Buddha taught it in such a way, the Four Noble Truths, you see, during the Buddha's time, or before the Buddha was enlightened, and he's still a bodhisattva, now of course, before he was born too, in the times of India, when you want to gain enlightenment, there's always like you have to torture the body, self-mortification. Sometimes you have to make your body in such a way that you want to experience that suffering in order for the mind to be free from free from samsara and realize nibbana. So they want to torture the body. But when the Buddha arises, when he taught the Four Noble Truths, he says, I only taught suffering and the end of suffering. But in order to teach these two things, he needs to teach the cessation of craving. Craving needs to be ceased in order to you achieve these two understanding of dukkha and the end of dukkha. You need to talk about the cessation of that craving. You see, the ascetics during that time, they think that by torturing the body, trying to remove the dukkha of the aggregates, they try to remove the aggregates. If you're able to remove the aggregates, then you can able to realize nibbana. But when the Buddha arises, he says that it's not the aggregates that you should remove. It is the origin of dukkha, is the source of that dukkha, is that craving itself that you need to remove in order for you to gain enlightenment. So the Buddha's way, and during the time where they are practicing a lot of self-mortification, this is the two paths. It's very different. Although that from the outside, it looks the same, that people are meditating, people are trying their best to gain enlightenment, but the way the Buddha taught that you have to cut off that craving, whereas the other ascetic says that you just have to torture the body until the craving, until the desire, the hatred, the delusion is all over. So that is two different ways. So now we come to the teachings. Now, when you use the word nibbana or nirvana, if it's in Sanskrit, then this word nibbana or nirvana in a different context, that means in different religion, different philosophy, different religion, then this nibbana or nirvana or nibbana here, they have a different meaning. They have a different meaning. Same in word, the word may be the same but different in meaning. Take for example another type of nibbana or another meaning of nirvana is especially with the Hindu religion. When you're able to merge with the Brahma and so on, then that is a kind of nirvana for them. They use the word nirvana, but it's a totally a different meaning from what the Buddha thought. Then also again, other people use the word nibbana differently, even within the context of Buddhism itself. Sometimes they say that the Buddha has already parinibbana, already final pass away, and then, but they exist. They exist in the Buddha's land. They're still there. All the arahants are still there. So they use the word nirvana for that term where the Buddha still exists. So not all nibbana, not all nirvana is the same. So when you are out there, when you are doing research or when you are studying, when you are this one, so don't be too naive. When the words is nibbana is used, then you think that since the same name must be the same, then it's just being shallow, and then you may get a totally wrong meaning and totally a wrong, different understanding from what the Buddha thought. Okay, so that is also is important that for us to know. So this nibbana thing, this nirvana is not copyrighted by the Buddha. It is able to use in different religion. Okay. So let us see there's all nibbana from a Theravada point of view. All nibbana only have one characteristics. Let me share this one again. All nibbana has only one characteristic. Here, the first characteristic here, not many, they all share this one characteristics, in a sense that no matter how you look at it, they are ultimate peace. They are ultimate peace. There's no peace higher than that. But for you all to say ultimate peace is so vague. What is ultimate peace then? But it is when a person experiences nibbana or cessation of dukkha, then it's ultimate peace. A peace that is totally different from a peace from the five aggregates or when you're in samsara, So it's hard for us to understand this ultimate peace. Again, the next one also the same. Although the Buddha says nibbanang paramang sukhang, nibbana is the highest bliss. Again, what is the highest bliss? How are you going to feel the highest bliss? But it is a highest bliss. There's nothing more higher happiness than nibbana. And yet at the same time, there's no feeling. There's no pleasant feeling. There's no unpleasant feeling. There's no neutral feelings. So, again, these two, although it's correct term, they are characteristics of nibbana, but it's hard for us to understand. Only conceptually, only we can able to figure it out, to conceptualize it. So it's not easy for us to go and describe to you the taste of Nibbana, of this highest peace. Now, what is more important, I think, towards the development for the yogis is the next one, the cessation of 5 aggregates of clinging. The cessation of the 5 aggregates of clinging. Now, these 5 aggregates of clinging, we already talked about that in the First Noble Truth, where when we talk about the how many types 12 types or 13 types of what the Buddha says, beginning from birth, aging, sickness, death, and then the last one is the 5 aggregates of clinging. The Buddha says, in short, the 5 aggregates of clinging. So here, Nibbana here is the cessation of the 5 aggregates of clinging. That means completely the 5 aggregates will disappear. And then again here again 5 aggregates disappear. It's hard for us to understand again because we are thinking and we are trying to conceptualize this Nibbana using 5 aggregates. You are trying to see something which with the eyes of, with the understanding, whereas it's all connected with 5 aggregates. To understand something is not 5 aggregates, then that is also difficult. But nevertheless, because it's connected to the 5 aggregates, and then therefore it is important in a sense in the development of vipassana or satipatthana. So we're going to use this cessation of 5 aggregates of clinging in the later part of the talks or another talk. Now the next one we're going to talk about is the different names of Nibbana. There are so many names for Nibbana. You see, just by I just get it from 3 suttas only. Later on, I'll share it again. Only from 3 suttas only. Then the whole is a different names. It's already different names. I'm not deriving from all kinds of different suttas. Of course, I don't have the time. I don't do research into all those things. But just with this, you have so many names already for Nibbana. The first one, there is, O bhikkhus, an unborn, unoriginated, unmade, unconditioned state. If, O bhikkhus, O bhikkhus, there were not this unborn, unoriginated, unmade, unconditioned, and escape for the born, unoriginated, made, and conditioned would not be possible here. As there is an unborn, unoriginated, unmade, unconditioned state, and escape for the born, unoriginated, made, condition is possible. So again here, the Buddha used the word unborn or unborn, because the word jata is birth, unoriginated, akata, unmade here, and unconditioned, asankata. So again, you see already 4 different names already. Then we go on to another 33 names inside there. Because I will teach you the taintless, the path leading to the taintless. Listen to that. Because I will teach you the truth and the path leading to the truth. So Nibbana is the truth. Nibbana is taintless. Nibbana is far shore. This one is, we use it quite a lot. The near shore, which is samsara. The far shore is Nibbana. Subtle, very difficult to see. Unaging, stable, undisintegrating, unmanifest, unproliferated. Here the word unproliferated also we have been using like papancha. proliferation of the mind, proliferation. Here, unproliferate, nipapancha. And then peaceful, deathless, sublime, the auspicious, the secure, the destruction of craving, the wonderful, the amazing, the unailing, the inhaling, nibbana, dispassion, purity, freedom, unadhesive, the island, the shelter, the asylum, the refuge. So many names for nibbana. If you are love to do all this type of research, then you can go ahead and go and look into this Samyutta Nikaya 43. Again here, this one, the third one. What is nibbana, friend? This one was asked by Sariputta himself, and he answered it himself. This is not by the Buddha. This is by Sariputta. So he's talking to another person. So they address the person as friend. So what is nibbana, friend? The destruction of greed, the destruction of hatred, the destruction of delusion. That friend is nibbana. Now, here you got three meaning. If you use the word nibbana is the destruction of greed, also correct. Nibbana is the destruction of hate, also correct. Nibbana is the destruction of delusion, also correct. Nibbana is the destruction of greed, hatred, delusion, also correct. So, you see, nibbana has so many different terms, but all the terms comes back to this one characteristic of ultimate peace, highest bliss, cessation of the five aggregates. Yeah? So they all come back, no matter how you turn, how you look at it, how you define it, what the concept and terms you put into it. Here is the ultimate peace, highest bliss, cessation of the five aggregates. All right. So this is the one characteristics of nibbana. Okay. This is a lot. Yeah? Simple but a lot. The next one. Again, these terms are quite familiar with for some of you. For some of you, it's totally, what is this? Again, here there are two ways of looking at nibbana. Sa-upadisesa nibbana and anupadisesa nibbana. Yeah? Here, the word upadi here, it's connected with the clinging, actually. But it's hard for us to say, put it in English, for this part. Here is the five aggregates. I just put it here for five aggregates. So the one is that sa-upadisesa nibbana. Nibbana with formations remaining. If not, now if you translate the word sa-upadisesa nibbana, nibbana with clinging. And then of course the commentary will put there clinging from the past result. Clinging of the past resultant. Okay, but it's again, it's hard for us to understand unless we talk about it in a short while. So here it's easier to put nibbana with formations remaining. Formations means here is these five aggregates. Five aggregates means the mind and the body still remains. All right? So nibbana with the body and the mind still remains. That means all enlightened ones, all ariyas. That means from sotapanna to arahant, while they are still alive. That means they can able to realize or experience nibbana. Okay? Yeah. This is what we mean by sa-upadisesa nibbana. Then anupadisesa nibbana here is nibbana without formations remaining. Now, this is only arahants, which also, of course, includes the Buddhas, or some people also want to include Pacceka Buddha. Okay, all included. At their final death, which is the parinibbana. Here, the parinibbana, we don't have a translation in English. When we use the word final death, also, it's not a very correct word, because this is not a normal death. A death here, for us normally is that we still have this craving and these defilements are still exist in us. So therefore, we have to go for a rebirth. Whereas this is without rebirth. So it's called a parinibbana. So arahants here, when this, when they have the final death, when all the craving is already gone, already fully abandoned, and then the all fetters has already been severed. Therefore, they are free from this cycle of birth and rebirth. Free from cycle of birth and rebirth because there is no condition, there's no chain, to able to form and to bring the five aggregates together for the next life. They have no conditions anymore. To understand this, when a nibbana is being experienced by not experienced, this is when they are totally free from samsara. It's just like when the fire is gone, and when the fire is gone, because there's no condition for the fire to arise. When there's no condition for the fire to arise, then the fire, you cannot say that it's hidden somewhere. You cannot say that. You cannot say that it is still somewhere. Also, it cannot. You cannot say that the fire is permanently not there. Also, it's not right. Yeah. So when we say that these Buddhas are when they have this final nibbana, it's a very sometimes we look into these Dhamma books, and also in the text, and sometimes people have all kinds of notions, all kinds of things of what this nibbana without formation means. Again, here, like I was saying earlier on, that people thought that when the Buddha have this parinibbana, but they are still in the Buddha's land, in the pure land, where else the Buddha still exists there. Where the existing means aggregates are still there. When the aggregates are still there means samsara. So here at the B here is like it's totally disintegrated, nothing else anymore. It's just like you have to understand it like fire, because the word also nibbana also is the same as to blow out, to blow out in the sense of a flame. In the way of translating the word nibbana, literal translation, is to blow out. So you have to understand it as a flame, as a look at it as understanding of condition. Because there's no condition for the fire to arise, therefore the fire cannot arise. So too, when arahants or the Buddha attain their final nibbana, there are no conditions for the five aggregates to come anymore. Therefore, it cannot arise anymore. It cannot reborn anymore. It cannot reborn in any samsara in anywhere anymore. It's just disintegrated. So the B1, this B here, you don't have to worry about it too much. As long as you are enlightened, finally you will come to B. You don't have to think about it too much, okay? So what is more important is the A1. Because you have to go through the destruction of that craving, all the defilements. Therefore, we can able to experience nibbana. So A1 is more important for you right now. B1 is a lot of time conceptual. People think of it conceptual. So once we are able to attain enlightenment, first stage or second stage, then we come to the sa-upadisesa nibbana. Right? Now here the nibbana at Whether you are at the first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, all Nibbana has only one characteristic. There's no Arahant Nibbana, or there's no Sakadagami Nibbana or Sotapanna Nibbana. All Nibbana share the same one quality only. It's just that the different levels of Aryas experience Nibbana. But then the second thing is that how much defilements is still left. Okay? So they experienced all the same Nibbana while they are still alive. Okay? So this is the two part of it. This one we don't have to worry about it, because as long as you practice, you will come to A and B also. What is more important for us as a practitioner in a state of practicing, then the next one is important. The three types of gateway to liberation. Okay? This one is more important for our practice, and therefore how you experience Nibbana. There will be three ways how one can able to experience Nibbana. No, you will experience one only. Experience one already, Tao Chiu already. You're already happy already. I don't have to worry about three, So what is important here is that different practitioner, different yogis experience Nibbana slightly differently. Okay? The triple gateway to liberation. Liberation here again, the Pali word is Vimokkha. Vimokkha again, another name for Nibbana. And again, how you experience Nibbana. The first one is called the signless liberation, Animitta Vimokkha. Signless. So the second one, B, is desireless liberation. And the third one is the void liberation, Sunyata. Sunyata Vimokkha. Okay. Now, this is a different name of how one experience Nibbana. And to summarize these things, why there's three ways to experience a Nibbana? It's because of the characteristics of a person. The inclination of a person, or inclination of that particular yogi. Now, signless liberation here is that it's connected with impermanence. It's connected with impermanence. That means before you attain Nibbana, before you realize Nibbana, you will see a lot of impermanence. You'll see a lot of impermanence. Then with that impermanence, so-called ripen, then you enter into the gateway, and then you will see Nibbana. You'll perceive Nibbana in that sense. And when you perceive it as signless. Why signless? Why is the word signless here? Because it is without the signs of the five aggregates. Okay? The sign means five aggregates. Signless means without the five aggregates. Because when you was before that, you were seeing a lot of this impermanence. And the impermanence here, the change that you see a lot if within that five aggregates, or one of the aggregates, let's say, you see one of the aggregates as changing, and you observe it as Nibbana, or you perceive it as Nibbana. When enlightenment happens, then you see that as signless liberation. And that you see this Nibbana is totally contradict from what you see just now, where early on there's aggregates, here there's no aggregate. So signless, animitta. Okay? All right, this is A. B, desireless liberation, apanihita vimokkha. Desireless liberation here, it means that the yogi, before this one, before seeing the nibbana or realized nibbana, here he sees the aggregates as painful, as suffering, as dukkha. You see this, the change of one of the aggregates as it takes up and he pays attention to the aggregate, and the aggregate while it's changing, and he sees that as a lot of dukkha, a lot of difficulty and uncomfortableness. And when they enter or when they realize nibbana, then they see this as desireless liberation. Because desireless here means that when they are seeing, before that, when they are seeing the aggregates as suffering, as difficulty, then they realize that it's because of that attachment, craving, then all this suffering there. Now, when they enter or realize nibbana, then they feel that totally the dukkha disappear. Totally the dukkha disappear. And therefore, when they enter into it, they see there's no desire at all. So it's called desireless liberation. So again, here you see the impermanence, the dukkha. And then the third one, that one you also can understand. No, the third one also you can guess already, Then again, a person sees it as non-self, anatta. He sees these five aggregates as anatta. He sees it without, it's not mine, as if like this is something alien, it's not mine, it is something foreign. And you see the changes, or you see the condition is on the aggregates or one of the aggregates as he notices the changes. Then when he enters nibbana, or when he realizes nibbana, he enters it and they see it as void. As you see the nibbana as void. Why is it that it's called void? Because why is it called emptiness? Empty because here that five aggregates is not there. Totally is not there. There's no condition. All this changing that is earlier on here you was seeing, all this changing that is happening, all this conditioning that is happening right now, and they see how these aggregates arises, passes away, and he sees it's not mine, and he sees the condition that is showing all the five aggregates or one of the aggregates. And when they enter into nibbana, he sees that this totally without the five aggregates, without the conditioning. So it's called void. As you see it as void, sunyata. So again here, it's different how a yogi perceive your object of your meditation. How you perceive your object of your meditation, and which gate that you're going to go through. It's all concept only here, It makes it interesting. It's just all these are all concepts. How this trade, but how a yogi experience they are real. So sometimes the yogi will look at nibbana slightly differently because of how they enter, how they perceive nibbana. Now the word void here, sunyata, again sometimes is being used as an epithet for nibbana too. But this word void, sometimes it's really misused in many ways. Because of the word void here, sometimes practitioner or sometimes monks or sometimes nuns, they interpret this void as something just empty. It's just empty. And when you're able to see this empty, then it must be nibbana already or nirvana already. So what do they do when they don't understand the development of the mind and so on? So they want to self-practice, or sometimes they get the wrong teachings from some teachers. And then what they do is that they sit there, yeah, because a lot of times you all have a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts, a lot of noting and imagination. And now here you meditate, you want to make the mind disappear. You want to make the mind as empty as possible. You don't want the thoughts to come in. Everything go blank. Yeah, and you're able to go blank, and you can able to see sometimes within the blank you got the lights there, you know. Sometimes the blank there is totally blank and you are like almost asleep, you know. Sometimes you're almost asleep when the sloth and torpor comes in, but it's not strong. It makes the whole mind blank. It also makes the whole mind blank. And then there are some people who thought that, oh, this is sunyata already. This is void. This is emptiness. I experienced that wholesale. And they believe, you know, they believe that this is already nibbana. Because there are real things. These are things are happening really in the world. You know, there are people. The development. Certain way of development is that I'm not sure I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned this before in other talks, other times. Not these times. There are people experience nibbana by just to tell you how that the progress was made. Now you are given like 10 days or 2 weeks to meditate. All right. At the end of your 10 days, at the end of the 10 days, and then you got 3 or 4 more days to go, you know. So you develop the rising, falling, in breath, out breath, mindfulness, and so on, you know. So at the end of the 10th day, you are given a counter, you know, a counter, like you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you meditate, and that last 3 days or 4 days, you must not sleep. No sleeping at all. You must not lie down at all. You must fully meditate. Okay, the last 3 days. And also you are given a counter. Are given a counter. When you are given this counter, and then you sit, you meditate. As you meditate, so you are 24 hours, you didn't sleep already. What do you think will happen to you? 24 hours, 48 hours, you don't sleep. When it happens, of course, when you're sleeping at time, of course, you're going to be sleepy. There are times that you can be bright, because the rhythm, the biological rhythm of the body. And a certain time you're going to be bright again, and certain time you're going to drop down, and the whole mind is going to cut off for a while. And after that, you're going to wake up again, become clear again. And after that, you're going to drop again and totally blank. And it's like a micro sleep that you are going through, because you are not sleeping for the 72 hours already, or 48 hours or 24 hours already. So there will be a going through of this period of micro sleep. So while you are meditating and when you are sitting, that you are being taught to, like, every time you sit, if you sit straight, you sit straight, and then after that you nod, then you wake up. So if you go through one nod, then you press the counter one time, you press the counter one time. Then after that, another nod, you press another time. Then after that, you straighten up because of that micro sleep, and then you alert again, then the body will straighten up again, right? Then after that, a while, a micro sleep will come in. Then when you sleep in, you just press again. You press again. So you sleep, this one, for 1 hour or 1.5 hours, you're sitting, or the next sitting. So you put a paper beside you, and then you see at the end of the sitting, how many your head is nodding, and you calculate that how many nodding is there. Okay. Now, that nodding, for them, they interpret it as there's arising and passing away. Because you nod and then you wake up again. So because you arise and pass away. And then because you disappear, the mind disappear, then come back again, arising, passing away. So arise, so while the sitting, let's say you have 30 times of this head going down, and then so you look at it, oh, I've experienced 30 times of arising and passing away already. All right. So you think that you already experienced arising and passing away 30 times. If the next sitting you have another like 20 times of this nodding, then 20 times. And then the next sitting, another nod 30 times, and then you calculate, accumulate all. How many times have you see this arising and passing away? All right. And then after that 48 hours, then you go through towards the 72 hours. Again, your body is going to go through a micro sleep. And there will be times that you'll be quite bright, because of the body more or less readjusted in a sense. If you be quite bright. Of course, again, there will be a micro sleep happens. And that time, when that happens, then some yogis go into like totally blank, totally empty, the whole mind, totally empty. Shut, the whole mind shut down, cut off, and then wake up again. The whole mind wake up again. And to them, then you reach already, sunyata already. You experience sunyata already. They won't tell you it's nibbana, but they indicate to you. They indicate to you, you're already there already. So, you see, these things are the word sunyata or this liberation thing. All is sometimes that as you travel to places and so on, you see different ways of how people interpret this void liberation or any form of liberation, any form of nibbana. So as I said, the sleepiness also, the drowsiness also, you can interpret it as nibbana. Because it really looks like nibbana, because the whole mind shut down. And that also, if you are doing for vipassana also, samatha also, then if you are too sleepy, you shut out. The mind is shut down for a microseconds or a few seconds, and then wakes up again. You thought that is nibbana, because that time you totally feel nothing. You totally feel nothing. You feel the mind is just, the thoughts and everything just stopped. So if you are doing samatha, you think that is also is jhana. If you are doing vipassana, you think that is already nibbana. So there's a lot of misconception about this word sunyata. So sometimes in the other tradition, they use the word sunyata and so on, and just to keep the mind empty of thoughts, empty of this and empty of that. Well, the moment you start empty of everything, then it is nibbana. So this is not the meaning of nibbana here. This is not the meaning here. Here what they are talking about, the void liberation, sunyata vimokkha, this is not the meaning of just empty. This is empty of conditions, empty of the five aggregates. It's an element of nibbana. It can be experienced, can be realized. So this nibbana here, it is said now, it's already there. It's already there. It cannot be realized by the our five senses, because it does not belong to it. It's just like our eye consciousness cannot take a hearing object. Our eye consciousness cannot take a food object, in the sense that you taste the food. You cannot do that. The eye consciousness can only take the eye object only. And so too, the hearing consciousness can take the hearing consciousness only. So it cannot take any other object. So nibbana is an object or an element. Sometimes the Buddha used the word nibbana dhatu, the element of nibbana. So that means it can be experienced. It can be noted. So to able to experience these things, then the path and friction consciousness. These two path and friction consciousness is the one that experience Nibbana. These two consciousness experience Nibbana. The rest of the consciousness, you cannot do that. Only these two. Okay, we will talk about that another time. Now we go back to this signless liberation, desireless liberation, and void liberation. This signless liberation, as I said, the person before he attains Nibbana, he sees impermanence. When he sees impermanence, that indicate that this person, this yogi, this practitioner, his faculty of faith is more predominant in him. His faculty of faith is more predominant in him. Saddha. His saddha is more predominant. His nature, his overall nature, but not just only at the, we are not talking at the point of liberation, but overall of him or herself is more inclined towards faith. So when he develops this vipassana or satipatthana, when he reached right to the gateway, then before that he will experience a lot of impermanence. Then when he enters, he sees this as signless liberation. Desireless liberation here. Desireless liberation, that means, as I said earlier on, a person sees dukkha. Dukkha in the five aggregates, and then therefore enters into Nibbana. And he sees, is free from all these aggregates, free from this suffering, totally free from this suffering. Then this person here is connected to the faculty of concentration. That means his faculty of being more peaceful, more concentrated. That is his nature. Desireless concentration here also connected to the asubha also, because when we were discussing about the perception, some talks back, about say maybe during December, then we were looking into perception. As I said, there are four types of perception: perception of impermanence, the perception of the wrong perception of beautiful, the wrong perception of permanence, the wrong perception of happiness, the wrong perception of a self. So they'll be counted by the right perception of asubha, that means is non-beautiful, countered by impermanence, which is not permanent, countered by dukkha as opposed to sukha, and countered by anatta, which is non-self as opposed to self. So there are four perceptions here, but this here got three only. So desireless liberation. So a person who are more towards concentration, then he will see this asubha and this dukkha. They are all, both of them are all connected. These two. Asubha and dukkha are all connected. That's why a lot of times you'll see impermanence. You will hear impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Impermanence, dukkha, and non-self. So most of the time you hear, but in the actual perception, we will see four of it. So usually asubha will fall under dukkha. That's why it's called three. Anyway, so we have this desireless liberation. Those who are more connected, or those whose predominance is concentration. And then this void liberation. Here, the person, the yogi, is more inclined towards panya. Wisdom faculty. His wisdom faculty is strong. Therefore, before he sees that liberation, that void liberation, he sees conditioning. He sees a lot of conditioning that's connected with the five aggregates. And those who can able to see conditioning for how it conditioned this way and that way, then he's more inclined towards this liberation. When he sees this, then he sees the void liberation. Okay, when he sees he sees all this conditioning, then the void liberation, that means it's free from all this conditioning, free from all these five aggregates. So here, this triple gateway of liberation, we're going to look into it, more in that sense, but not for tonight. As I said earlier on, we will, the next talk, which is on Wednesday, the next talk on Wednesday, we'll look into it, how the process of development takes place, and then how, that means it's before Nibbana, that means during Nibbana, and also after Nibbana. Maybe that one also takes about 1 or 2 talks to cover, or 3 talks to cover. So it's quite a few talks as we're going to cover for that. Now, understanding that, how beginning and how during and how after, it also will give you a understanding, a map, that at least when you go out there, when people talk about Nibbana this and Nibbana that, then at least you kind of like not fall into the wrong teachings, Then some of you may think, one day do you think you talk is the right one? Then you're also confused. Either I'm not right, they are not right. Who is right anyway? So you may be also confused, You may hear from some people else, you may hear from me, you may hear from another one, then mong cha cha already. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let me go and elaborate this thing for you, whether you can able to accept it or not. Because if you can able to understand that, then then you will see that the realization is not impossible. It's only need a lot of practice, but it's not impossible. All right. So that one we go on to with the next talk. Okay. So we stop here for tonight. All right.